because it's town hall time. And so I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves except for Dawn and whoever else is going to be talking during this PowerPoint. And then I just have to figure out why I'm having trouble doing it this way.
I hope Chris Dunnigan is going to unmute himself, or it's going to be a very short town hall.
No, no.
I'm here. I'm here.
Hey, Chris is here.
Just lurking in the background.
Good for you.
Because for some reason I'm all right. You can probably start talking, and I'm gonna. Why am I having such a problem here?
Looks weird.
It looks weird.
Good morning. Thanks to everyone who stayed for the budget town hall. Probably not the funnest thing you've done this weekend, but it's important. So Chris Dunnigan, our treasurer, has done a great job, and he's going to do most of the talking because he knows the details of the budget. But I just want to cover a couple things to give you some context before we get started. So there's three things. So number one, you probably have noticed, many people have noticed that the budget was made according to the old, what were they called? The social council, the old council structure, instead of being aligned with our new circle structure. And that's my fault. I did not get the right information to Chris in a timely enough fashion. And so it doesn't change the numbers at all. We have a map of moving every line of the budget in the old structure to the new structure, and we need to do that. So if you'll just be patient with us, we will try and get it done for and get a copy out to you before the annual meeting next week. I just want to make sure there's three things I want to cover. That was one. I want to say that as far as the budget goes, there were two things that we spent a lot of time looking at, especially, and one was the staff raises. And our staff has not had raises in 3 or 4 years at least, maybe longer. And we felt it was important. We set out to do a budget where we could give our staff raises to compensate them for all the hard work and flexibility they've had during the pandemic, but also to make up for the past years when they haven't received anything. Also, their healthcare costs have gone up, and our healthcare costs have gone up. But because of that, and Sarah, you can go to the next slide, although it's displaying kind of oddly. For me anyway, I'm only seeing half of it.
Move it over. Sorry, are other people also struggling to see it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's only showing half for some reason. It's like super big or something.
It's
There you go.
So this isn't a wildly interesting piece of arithmetic, but I just want to show that the UUA health plan is giving us a 10% increase. And there have been increases all along the way, as anyone who has healthcare knows. So this only goes back to 2020, but I can tell you that going back even farther, it was just too much work to pull out all the numbers. But as the years have gone on, the healthcare costs have increased. So when we don't give our staff raises, we're actually cutting their pay because they are having to contribute more for their healthcare. So, and we learned recently that the UUA would be giving, bumping up their prices by 10% starting July 1st. So that also drove our desire to increase the pay of our staff. So that's our thinking behind that. The other thing I wanted to touch on briefly, and we'll talk about it in a lot more detail at the annual meeting, is we have a plan to install solar panels on the roof of Anderson. Oh, thank you. There's the slide. It's a little hard to see. And like I said, we'll give you a lot more information next week. The solar panels were planned for in the capital improvement budget, but they were budgeted at $10,000. It turns out that solar installation costs about $75,000. So we are going to pay for this, and what we are proposing in the budget that you will be voting on is to use $10,000 from the capital campaign fund and to take the remaining $65,000 out of our reserves. Now, we aren't just, yeah, you can go to that one. We aren't just stealing it out of our reserves forever. This is super hard to see. What's happening is New Jersey will be paying us back across years. They will be sending us rebates because we're installing solar power. In addition, we'll be saving money on our electric bill. So our plan is to repay the reserves with the money that we receive back from the state of New Jersey. And if you can, and it's very hard to see this slide, but if you can see where it turns on the far right column, where it turns from red to black, that's where we break even, and that's around year 9. So across time, we're going to be getting these rebates, and that will be used to restore the money to the reserves. So while we're showing a very large deficit, it really, a lot of that deficit, most of it is 65,000 is going towards what I think is a really worthwhile project of installing the solar panels. And that is a project where we will be recouping a lot of that money across time. So Chris can say what our sort of actual expenses, normal expenses deficit is. It's around $10,000. And the remainder of the deficit we're showing in the budget is to cover the installation of the solar panels. So a couple shout outs. There's a whole lot of people to thank, mostly Chris Dunnigan, who has worked very hard on the budget and has a great attitude of abundance instead of scarcity and makes it work. And also to Rob Willis, I just want to thank him for shepherding the solar installation project. He went to so many vendors. He learned a lot about solar panels and really did his due diligence to make sure we're getting the best deal and the right installation for our needs. So thanks as always to Rob Willis and also to Chris Dunnigan. So that is really all I have. I made these very unattractive slides, as you can see. Chris, do you want to take it over? I don't know if you got to
Sure.
see the slides I made for you are not awesome.
That's
I
fine.
wasn't
So
sure how to make them.
So the first thing is that I guess we haven't made a public announcement, but I managed to get us through the PPP funding process a second time, and we got another $31,000. So thank your federal government and your tax dollars. So the line that says miscellaneous revenues, we're actually building that into next year's budget. So just wanted to say we've now received our two rounds of PPP financing, and I'd like to thank Ann Peretti for going through that unbelievably difficult process. We very nearly didn't qualify, and it took a lot of work to figure out how we could. The second thing with healthcare costs is basically the UUA health plan has been trying to tamp down costs for the last couple of years with very low increases, and it's now time to pay the piper. We don't really have any good options, but to continue to or to accept the 10% healthcare costs for the employees that use that. Let's see. But we're doing okay financially. I mean, we have money and revenues. You know, obviously, we're always concerned about pledges, but a special thank you to all the people who did the raffle. That was a huge help this year, in lieu of the fact that we couldn't do our auction. And you know, this budget sort of attempts, or this proposed budget attempts to restore a lot of the funding that I think we had to slash pretty hard last year because of COVID. You know, last year's budget was really difficult, and we had to make sure that we didn't, you know, sort of allow USR to go into a financial tailspin. We were successful in that. But, you know, now it's sort of time to try to get us back to normal. The other thing is that, you know, we do believe that rentals are going to come back, you know, perhaps even more. But we've tried to be pretty conservative about that. I see there's a connection or a question about the Paycheck Protection Program.
It was answered. It's
It
okay.
was answered.
Thank you
Oh,
for
I see.
answering it,
Okay,
Jan.
got it. So, you know, we're like this budget is trying to get us back to, yes, we can have outside musicians come in and pay them, things like that. So hopefully, you know, people will be happy with, you know, a total or at least partial restoration of the funds for all the various things that we do here. We are also going back to the old system for the endowment fund, where they're just going to make their normal, you know, contributions to various charitable endeavors. We're not going to be taking money out of the endowment fund for the operations of USR. That was a one-shot deal. And the endowment fund's doing just fine as well, if anyone's worried about it.
We should point out too that we're returning to share the plate in this budget.
Oh yes, also returning to share the plate. I know that's important to a lot of people. So that's built in as well. I'm looking at my notes. I think those are the big ones. So basically like historically our natural deficit that we project tends to be around $20,000 to $25,000. Our net, and then it generally just works out. And as long as I've been treasurer, we've never actually tapped our reserves. Okay, so I see the question, whatever happened to this year's applications for grants from the endowment fund? So for this fiscal year, we didn't do grants.
Chris, I can answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
we asked that the endowment team to skip last year and to give the money to the operating fund because of the pandemic. But for this coming year, 2021-22, they have accepted applications and they have awarded the grants. Those grants were just approved by the board and we'll be announcing them at the annual meeting.
Yeah. So what percentage of the reserves will be going to the solar panels? So assuming that we do need to tap the reserves and we just can't pay everything out of our operating account, $65,000, and the reserves are at approximately 232,000. So 20 to 25%. Paid back over time, obviously.
And we can add the.
I think I just answered the next one, which is the status of the reserves is they're at about 232. They just keep going up because we haven't tapped them in the last couple of years, and they're invested in you know, broad index funds. We can
also add the sort of the balance of the reserves and the endowment just for people's information for next week. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, the balance, I can tell you the balance, I mean, the balance of the endowment's about 320.
Okay, that's why we love you, Chris, because you know those numbers in your head. Sarah, you could kill the PowerPoint and then we can see people a little better. And it's probably okay. I don't know if let's try not to unmute right now, but does anyone have a question? I'm trying to look at your, Pam Han, do you have a question? No, you're just giving thumbs up. I love it. Mary Mogerly, did you have a question? People are just moving their hands. I'm sorry. I'm like that teacher.
Nobody's got anything?
It's really hard to see everyone at one time. Could we unmute everybody?
Everybody
Please?
has the power to unmute themselves.
Okay, yeah, so thank you. So anyone who wants to unmute themselves, if you would be more comfortable just shouting out your question, feel free to do so.
There were questions in the chat, Dawn.
Oh, okay.
So Anita, do you want me to field this question about housing?
Sure.
So, okay, so the way that their clergy taxes are a weird thing. So essentially, we receive salary plus housing. If you actually have a parish house, it takes that form. But if you don't, there's an IRS rule that allows clergy to designate a certain amount of their compensation package as housing, which means that it's not income taxable. So I will get income taxed on the part that's designated as salary, and then I will pay self-employment tax on the part that's designated as housing. So it's just like a different way essentially like there's rules that regulate how much you can declare for housing. It's like the lesser of what you actually pay or the market rate or one other thing that I now don't remember. And essentially what it does is it's a little bit of a perk that potentially pushes down our income tax bracket. But it all ends up getting, sort of SEPA payment made on it. And so, yeah. So
and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we had the exact same setup for Sarah Lammert, but hers went into her mortgage.
Right.
It's just, if you account for it as two different line items, then it helps with the minister's income taxes.
Yeah. It gets registered differently on the pay stub, right? The way the payroll works, it is registered as a different sort of thing. And the way that it gets determined is that I go to the board and I say, this is, what I need to designate as housing. And then the board has to approve that, right? We have to agree to whatever that amount is.
So the other Anita is asking about a report on the status of the improvement fund would also be helpful, which is a very good idea. We are in the process of pulling together like a news article about all the improvements. We're just kind of waiting for every little project to be done. And I can try and list them off for you. I just want to say that we did a lot of things that had to be done that were emergency or near emergency status. And then we took advantage of the fact that the building was empty. We did some more things. And now we're finishing those projects up, and we're going to take a really long beat. And we're going to wait for people to be back in person. And we're going to see what we need. And we're going to reevaluate our priorities for sort of the remainder of the improvement fund. So this all should be coming out soon, I hope, with photos or maybe a little video coming your way for annual meeting. But we installed the ramp at the front door. That was a huge project. And again, thanks go to Rob Willis for a lot of permits and contractors and all the things no one would want to do. And he's so good at. We have, the ramp is beautiful too. I think it was really well done. We have replaced the chairs and they're very nice and they really needed. Now when you look at the old chairs, they're just revolting. We took out the carpeting in Reeb. It was very old, smooshed up carpeting and was replaced with a durable vinyl tile that looks like wood and is going to be very easy to maintain. We have painted Anderson. We are in the process, or maybe have just painted the fellowship room. We painted the outside of the building. We roofed both buildings. And we will soon be getting solar panels, provided that the budget gets approved. What am I forgetting? And the hall bathroom in Anderson is currently being renovated. So we are going to get rid of the sink with the weird steel aluminum leg holding it up that's bent. We're going to have a more attractive bathroom. And since it's a small room, we're actually going to put some pretty cool looking tile and stuff in there, I believe. And Chris Blumel is especially excited about the bathroom. She makes a good point, which I totally agree on, that if visitors come, you say a lot about what you think of your people by what your bathrooms look like, especially, well, it's a generalization, but especially for women. Like if you go to an office building and you go in the bathroom, it kind of tells you, is this a luxurious place or an iffy place? So we're working on the bathroom. Can anyone think of something I missed there?
If people want to know how much money is in the improvement fund, it's currently 111, and then because people pledged over time, we've got another 95 outstanding. So if you take that, you subtract the 10 for the solar panels, we still have about 195,000 available for various improvements.
And we can relook at it. We haven't really spent much money in RE, and we expect, obviously, when we're back in person, to feel that pain. Yeah. Elizabeth Ames, you have your hand up so politely. Thank you.
Were the risers in Anderson refurbished? Because they looked horrible.
What do you mean by the risers?
The platform.
The days.
Oh, like the
yeah
cancel area? I don't want to, I'm searching for a word that isn't altar.
Well, the thing the altar stood on, I mean,
right, the basic platform, that is under consideration. And It's true that when we painted Anderson, it made it look even worse. You know how that happens when you paint your living room and then your couch looks so bad. So that is a process that we are trying to figure out whether to give it a basic facelift or a full replace. And those conversations are continuing, but we certainly recognize the need.
Okay, good.
Helen Matizo, do you have your hand up?
I do, because there are a couple of questions in the chat and a
Oh,
comment.
thank you.
You're welcome. One comment was, from Jan, was about Sarah's overall compensation going up. I think it's just a comment, just mentioning not just the difference in the tax, but also that our compensation is going up. Then there was a question about installing Zoom, which I would assume is just installing the ability to stream, and
Right.
if we're doing that, in what rooms and how will it be paid for?
That's a great question, and that has been rolled into the capital improvement budget. We think it's very important to be able to do what I've learned is called tandem services, which means some people in person and some people on Zoom. That's going to be our understanding of how it's going to work going forward, for the foreseeable future. And again, Rob Willis is working on with a contractor, like a tech contractor, to get that set up. We will try and our goal is to set it up in Anderson, but also to have like an overflow ability in fellowship, so that if we have services that are quite large, or oftentimes we have funeral or memorial services where there's overflow in fellowship, we would like to be able to broadcast into that room. And we're looking to make it easier and more of a push button thing, so it doesn't require as many people and as much angst as our current system requires.
I think also this we haven't actually talked this one out as much, so I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit though, and say that in addition to the question about Sunday mornings, there is a great functionality to having Zoom for other kinds of meetings, right? For folks who don't want to drive in the dark, or people with young children can't get a babysitter, or whatever it is. So part of the intention is to make the conference room, or whatever is the sort of most common meeting space, Zoomable, which means a screen and internet access, really just flowers came down. And that cost, again, the cost of the sort of equipment and stuff is rolled into the technology line of the budget. And then the having Zoom as we've been having it for the last year and a half is like a few $100s a year. It's not a big expense to do what we've been doing. So we would just, continue to have our sort of, business account of Zoom through USR.
So I see there's another question from Hetty about whether the kitchen is getting any renovation. And we actually are not spending money to renovate the kitchen, as it's in reasonably good shape, but we did have it deep cleaned, and I mean deep cleaned. And it looks 100 times better. I had no idea the floor was the actual color that it is. Also, a group of us, including myself, so you can blame me, we went in and just got rid of all the stray oddball stuff that has found its way into the kitchen through years and years of fellowship feasts. We pared down a lot of what was in the cupboards. We reorganized the cupboards, and then we did it right before the cleaning crew. And so they were able to clean the cupboard doors, all the appliances, the floor, everything. But I think as we move forward, it may make sense to see if we want to upgrade anything in the kitchen. In our what I will call our phase 2 of capital improvements. Am I missing anything, Helen?
There's a question regarding ventilation improvements.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I see it now.
We do not have any plans for that for the pandemic or otherwise. We have a pretty good ventilation system. I don't know if you guys know, but I work in public health. I have a master's of public health, and there's not much a ventilation system can do regarding the pandemic. It's sort of it makes people feel good, but it doesn't necessarily have any real effect, especially, this is about droplets and it's not about aerosolized things. For the most part, we're learning more. We don't know exactly how it's spread. But we do have HEPA filters on our heating system, which is a really good thing to have. But we have high ceilings, we have windows. the odds that a particle of virus would find its way all the way down the ductwork into a filter and be filtered out by it, because the virus is one of the smallest particles known to man. It's just sort of a non-starter. So, you know, sit by an open window if it makes you feel better. We aren't planning, you know, people who have come before me have done a great job with the HVAC. It's in really, really good shape.
So there are two more questions. One is just a confirmation, which I think I can answer, that Zoom will be available for meetings, conferences, and fellowship, which I think is what we said, that will be available. And then there was the question about the refrigerator.
Okay, so let me talk about meetings too. Like to my mind, the board meetings will just be all on Zoom. I don't know why I would get off the train coming from work in Ridgewood, walk over to Chris Dunnigan and I used to do this, get some dinner, bring it with us to the conference room and have a meeting when I could just go home and have a meeting at home. So it's going to be up to the group whether they ever want to meet in person. But we absolutely in our plan would like to make it possible to have partially in person and partially Zoom meetings if people want to do that. It kind of seems funny now that we actually drove ourselves to that, you know, hot little room in the summer and met. You know, it seems quaint now looking back at it. Also the refrigerator, what about the refrigerator? Clean, I can tell you that.
That's the question about, I guess, about replacing it.
It needs to be replaced. It doesn't always close right. It leaks sometimes. And I think we could use to be able to have a freezer in there too.
It would be nice to have a freezer. I got to tell you, the last time I was in there, it was making a noise like a wounded animal too. So I will raise that to, I'll raise it to Bob Cohn and we'll pencil that in on the capital, not the home improvement, capital improvement fund.
Oh, look.
Oh, look, it's a fridge. Can you get inside it, Kristen? That would be really instructive.
There's
Show them can you show them oh, thank you. Can you show
Come on.
the ham bone? Can you show them the
Feels
kitchen?
cold.
Can you show them the kitchen floor?
Yes.
Yeah, it really does.
It's amazing. Thank you for getting inside the fridge too.
Holly, I'm glad I'm making you laugh.
Wonderful.
Kristen, show them the coat room too.
Look at the floor.
Yeah, look at that.
Different colors.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Wow.
Kristen, did you hear me?
Yes, I'm going to the coat room.
It
All
looks-
right.
Is the coat room fixed up yet? We kind of
Oh,
threw a bunch
yeah.
of stuff.
Well, more or less.
It still needs to have some organization.
There's
of
still, yeah, there's boxes and stuff, but
Show them the hangers that all match.
I know. This makes me the most excited. Look. Oh.
It's all painted, and we got rid of all the people from renters who haven't come in 20 years. And
Painters.
Oh my goodness.
And the walls are clean. Yeah, there's still lots of boxes of stuff, but
yeah, we're
The
working
lights
on it.
don't flicker anymore either.
So there, Deanne has a, comment.
Yes.
Of course, Deanne knows the kitchen so well. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of things that, need to be renovated in the kitchen. So that seems like to me, there's a hang up because it involves getting onto the roof because it's the fan. I think it should, it seems like there's a message here that the kitchen renovations should be the next in phase 2 that you described.
Yes. And our kitchen is a great asset that we don't really use as much as we could. So it's definitely worth investing in. I totally agree with that. We're hoping to have more renters too. And the kitchen, of course, is very important to the renters.
and our kitchen is, I don't know what you call it, certified or
Yeah, it's like a
Whatever, right?
commercial kitchen, which
it's
is
a commercial
rare.
kitchen that people can cook in, right? It's not just a heating kitchen, a warming
Right,
kitchen.
right.
Right.
And the oven, I don't know if you've ever used the oven, but it's like a thing of art. You make cookies in it and it's like the most delicate oven, even though it looks like a monster.
It is brand spanking clean, gorgeous right now.
Beautiful.
It's shiny silver.
Wonderful.
Ah.
So we'll get some kitchen experts together and we'll make a punch list of things that really need to be addressed.
Sure.
And I can tell you, even if we had planned to do it in this past year, there is not a contractor to be found on the face of this
Yep.
earth to do it.
Guys, it's shiny in here.
Ah,
There's no baked on nothing. And I'm sorry, I
Fabulous.
can't fit into the oven.
I know, I was just gonna ask you if you could please climb in.
Things-
Oh, I can put my head in the oven. How's that?
Oh, it's killing me.
Excellent, Gretel.
I really hope this is being recorded.
Oh, God.
It is.
That would be good.
Oh, you cra-
Okay, am I missing other comments, or does anyone have anything they'd like to add? I know that people, oh, we're late, but if you want to join the other program, it's not too late, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can hop in there. Should be in
Thanks to the board and to Chris again for pulling this together. It's a lot of work. And to Ann Peretti, it's a tremendous amount of work for her as well.
Woo!
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you
Thank you
next week,
all.
right? Everyone needs to come to the annual meeting. It's super important.
How do we get to the other room?
I will resend the link. Hang on one second. Oh, Jen already did it. If you check the chat, there's a link in the chat.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Well, Kristen
Sarah,
and Anderson.
are we doing coffee hour for anybody who doesn't want to go to the other meeting?
If anybody wants to stay for coffee hour, yeah, I can put you in a breakout room for coffee hour. You're welcome to stay for that. We'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
A lot.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful singing, Kristen.
Kristen, I have a
Oh,
question.
thank you. Oh, okay.
Are you going to be around next Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. Jan, did Jack leave? Dang it.
Yes,
Jan,
he
are you
did.
around next Sunday?
We're here?
He hopped in for a minute. Are you going to be around next Sunday, Jen?
Yes.
I'll reach out to Jack.
Okay.
The
And then,
annual meeting?
so-
No,
yes, for the annual meeting
I
And
know
the
you can't miss
service.
the annual meeting.
and for the service
What?
and for the service.
I'll be here the whole time.
Okay.
And you too, Kristen, right? And
Yes, I'll be here. Yep.
so I'll talk to Jack. There's some people we just need to have around.
Next Sunday.
Are we
We
going to
got
be
a little
part of
car
like
sick
a
now,
big
Kristen.
joke?
What else are you going to show us?
Yeah.
We have a
Oh,
small.
I don't know. What
group
else do you
now.
want to see?
Do you want to
So
show
this
the small group the wall?
Are you?
Sure.
Is fellowship painted yet?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
let's see Fellowship's paint job.
It's going to be a little hard to see. It's just it's not white. It's just slightly
It's a light gray.
kind of a cafe au lait color.
Yeah, it's warm. It's very nice. And actually the color up top and the color below the chair rail are different, but it is,
Barely. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Darker.
And this even looks like more of a difference than it is in real life.
I see.
Pretty.
It's very, very subtle.
I haven't seen that yet because that wasn't done the
Yeah.
last time I was there.
See, when you back away, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, very pretty.
It really is.
But it
Yeah,
looks clean, most of all.
right.
Awesome.
Okay, hold on. I'm going into the
I
big
think
room.
I think we should show them the surprise since they've stuck around so long and they're hardcore.
You win a prize. You get to see the wall.
Oh, the wall that you've been hiding?
Yes,
You've been
the Wonder
hiding
Wall.
Yes.
Are you ready?
You know, if people have
Are you
missed
holding
It'll be a little
on?
hard to see online. Ooh, it's green. Oh, it looks pretty.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Pretty.
Oh, I'm so glad.
So it's all white except for that front wall.
Yes.
That's lovely.
That's great.
And it really shows off the, well, let's.
I think the wood looks really nice. Hey, does anyone have knowledge of the wood? I was just wondering if the wood artwork has ever been cleaned or if it needs to be like linseed oiled or something. I wonder if I'm guessing that's not the original color it was. It's probably aged, which is
I
fine.
imagine it's darkened.
I just wonder if it's something that should be maintained from time to time. I'll have to see if there's anyone who remembers.
My sense is that if anybody was going to know, it'd be Carol Wolf.
Okay,
I don't know that to be true, but when you asked the question, that was the name that popped.
always a good guess.
Yeah.
The green looks nice with the stained glass too, I have to
Yes,
say.
it looks beautiful.
It did work out.
We do have a few spots like this where wood, probably something broke off.
Oh.
So,
That's true. So if we oiled that, those would kind of go away.
yeah, yeah.
We might
And
need to
defi-
get
I
a
think
carpenter
deep
in or
cleaning
something.
would be in order. Yeah.
I just wonder if it used to be a little bit glossy or something, if we could restore it.
Murphy oil soap.
Ooh, yeah, that's my favorite. Plus it smells good.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Elizabeth, did you see the wall or were you otherwise engaged?
Me? You
Yes.
talking?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just, at the last second, I saw it a
Oh,
little,
I'll back up again. I just
Oh.
wanted to show the tree. Look how nicely our tree is doing.
yeah.
It
Look
is.
at
It does, it
that.
likes being without people.
Probably.
Nobody's poured coffee into it for a while.
Yeah. Here you go, Elizabeth.
Great color. Thank you. Thank you.
Isn't that nice?
That's pretty.
What do
Yeah.
you think about having the carpeting on the platform a deeper green?
So the platform is all up for grabs at the moment. Where there's some consideration being given to making it not carpeted at all, but to having it be finished like the floor, basically, so that it kind of just looks like it's rising up out of the floor instead of being carpeted. So we'll see. But yeah, that's definitely you can
And
pass
The
And
chancel area
part of
turned out to be a bit of a remodeling rabbit hole, and so we have formed a group, and we're just going to give it some more thought before we start on something.
Wasn't it also a goal to make it
accessible.
accessible, a ramp part as part of it?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's also
Yeah.
a
It's
conversation.
extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Space just makes it tricky. Oh, the entry looks nice.
Yes, yes. So this is a very
Nice.
subtle, again, it's an off.
Oh, they paint. That's nice.
Yeah. So it's not, it's a little bit more gray than it used to be.
And it's the same color as in Fellowship, right?
I think so.
One of the colors.
Now this bench, I think we were talking about repainting this bench too, right?
No, keep it.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
It
Look
needs, it needs a little bit of a fix up. It's a little.
Yeah, this is, I mean, there's paint chipping off here. I just don't want anyone to get a splinter in the dupa.
So my pet peeve, I tell you all, in the world of like rabbit holes of whatever, Kristen, would you please return to Anderson so I can show everyone my pet peeve?
Technology. I'll bet.
Kristen's getting her steps today.
Oh shoot, I'm not holding my phone. Dang, that's what counts.
It's your phone.
Yes.
That's it. That's my turnaround. That's my pet peeve. Well, no, sorry. Now I don't.
Oh, this?
My pet peeve. No, not even all this. Turn around the other way. My pet peeve is that fireplace.
Oh.
Painted fireplace. I hate it.
Did they try and remove paint from it at all?
So the painter was going to try to do a spot test around the back to see what happened if he applied the stuff that would remove all the yuck. Has he done it yet, Kristen?
No, because, well, he was here, he had to get everything done for the wedding a few weeks ago. And then he had other jobs that he had to get to. Then he came back and did fellowship and he was going to try the fireplace as well. And then his employee quit.
Oh, no.
So it's just him. So
dear.
now he is running like the Dickens, trying to get everything done. He said he will come back later this summer to do
It's
that.
something we can always do it separately. You know, it doesn't have to be a part
Right,
of
it doesn't
anything
have to
else.
be done now, yeah.
Not an emergency. It just drives me crazy. I hate
Oh,
it.
I know.
Can I, if we're going on an honesty trip here, can I tell you my pet peeve? And Sarah
Yes.
knows this. Turn around the other way. It's the harpsichord warehouse look.
Yeah,
We have now, especially with the wall being green, like to me, the wood art was meant to be the whole front wall, including
Yeah.
that blank space and then the window. And we have become pianos are us.
the problem,
like-
Dawn, is I'm sure you can imagine, where else do we put everything?
Well, we have one piano. I'm not sure why we need anything more than that. So
2 piano festival, and there are other times when there are multiple pianos for renters.
Without putting it in the back of the room.
We could,
I really, it's my pet peeve to sit in service and gaze
And
upon
stare at the
these
pianos.
warehoused musical instruments.
right.
Well, I have another pet peeve is that the sculpture in front is not a storage unit. People put all kinds of stuff on it, coffee cups, whatever.
Yeah.
It invites it. It's a problem because it invites it.
It
But-
does, yeah.
But
They're not meant to be
It's clean
shelves.
now.
yeah,
Right now it's clear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ron used to put his briefcase on it.
We've talked to Ron, no more briefcase, he knows, he knows.
Yeah, so I will say, so once upon a time, what? Yeah, it's all it's my mom, sorry. She's like,
Hi, Susanna.
So I once upon a time preached it, I don't know where it was. They had taken over a car dealership. So their church was a car dealership. But what they had built at the front of the space was essentially like, it was as if there were like half walls that obscured like the accessibility ramp. And it created like, and built into it was like a shelf for candles. So my mother was just like, can't you build like a giant sideboard to hide the pianos? So I was thinking like, I wonder if there's something that could be done. It would interfere with the sort of full effect of the Vilonis and blank wall, but there might be some way to try to like
to make it less. Because
Yeah.
then people also set things on the pianos and then they become part of the furniture and it's just really.
I know.
Care
Well,
for
when
it.
you redesign the ramp, the ramp, the dais, whatever you want to call it, redesign it thinking a little storage in mind.
Right.
And, you know, for all the miscellaneous stuff that lands, find a place for it to land. Think of it as the USR mudroom.
Right.
I mean, in some worlds,
a chalice coffer.
That closet, if we didn't have to put tables in that closet, the door could be opened wider and the pianos could live in that closet.
Not deep enough, I don't think.
Gary?
If we didn't have to store everything.
Yeah, if we didn't
Well,
have.
we are hoping, this was Sarah's idea, that the AV equipment should take up much less space because it's not 1974 anymore. And that some of those closets along that wall can be used to store, especially if Sarah has a nice chalice and wants to store it during the week when there are renters, that we would have space.
Right.
We should be able to free up a lot of space along the side.
Mention about,
not for a piano, but.
Right. But there was mention about putting the pianos back here, but the problem is this is gallery space.
No.
Yeah.
We really can't do that.
Well, it's a question of priorities. No, it is.
No, it absolutely is.
I mean, there's a harpsichord that I've never heard played. Could we get rid of that?
Yes,
and,
you have.
Yeah, rent a harpsichord once every 3 years with, you know.
No, Ron has played it, and we had a concert here. We had a whole harpsichord concert.
It's just a lot of space to take up for very seldom use. To me,
Yeah,
I
well, I
don't
agree.
get
It could be moved. Yeah.
It's a gift from
about the harpsichord. The thing about the harpsichord is that every time you move it, it goes out of tune.
Oh, it's going to have to be tuned before it's played every time anyway.
Okay.
It was a gift from the Dodics.
From the Dodics.
Right, and I appreciate that it's a generous gift, but that doesn't mean we have to keep it forever.
I think it's a beautiful.
We can love the Dodics and not love their harpsichord.
I love their harpsichord. Sorry.
Yeah, I do too. It's one of the only ones in the area. I mean, it's a special thing.
Doesn't that mean that someone would really want to take it out for us and own it?
But then what we need to do, Kristen, is we need to start like making sure people know that and start getting it to generate like rental income, right? Like, come perform your harpsichord, whatever, here at our place, pay us X amount of the, cover or whatever.
Right.
And then make that harpsichord earn its keep.
Yeah, you hear that?
Yeah, if it could earn some money, I'd feel better about being
tender
piano
little
warehouse of Ridgewood.
So this is my pet peeve.
Exactly, mine too.
Yeah.
Correct.
We've talked about this too.
Yeah.
It's too bad that all those donation plaques that are on the chairs are going to be lost probably, right? I mean,
That's a good question. Yeah, I think those chairs are already gone, the old chairs, most of them.
Oh, nobody took the donation things off?
I don't know. I don't know if the plaques were taken off or not, honestly.
Well, the small chairs had donation plaques. I think it was only the cushy armchair. So I didn't know that we got rid of any of the cushy armchairs.
We didn't.
We didn't.
Oh,
they're all still
you're
there.
right.
But
You're
I
right.
think
We have the
small
armchairs.
chairs, I don't think they had donation plaques on them.
I don't think they
You're
did
right.
either. There's no
Jan's
place to
right.
put
It was-
them.
We did the plaques when we bought the armchairs, and you're right. We still have all the armchairs because they were
Right.
in good shape.
Right, because the back of
Good one,
these
Jan.
chairs, I know this is a new chair, but the backs of the other ones were like this. There's no place to put a plaque. So,
The new chairs are nice. I like them.
Look at,
yeah.
Comfortable.
Yep.
And then
What do the new chairs look like? Did you show them?
Funny.
These are the new chairs.
Ah,
show like a, yeah.
Yep. Look, no stains,
Private tour.
because
This is
they've had no people in them.
behind the scenes private.
Oh, and they have a full back, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
They're like a little bit wider.
Gone darker on the upholstery because they're
Kristen, can you sit on one and make a sound of comfort? That will help us.
Ah.
I do think the seat is a little bit wider.
It's a little bit wider.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we still have some of the crummy old chairs.
You know what? My seat is a little bit wider too.
Say, for my
Perfect.
post-pandemic aging seat, it's better.
Yes. Oh yeah, here's an old chair. Okay.
Do a comparison test for us.
Oh, I'm getting car sick. Getting car sick.
Sorry.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't watch. We'll tell you when she's sitting down.
I judge when the air conditioning, we need to turn our air conditioning on by the color of my face. And I think today is the day.
Okay.
Oh, look at that side by side comparison. Fancy.
Oh, it's so much better.
Definitely bigger. Yeah.
So much better looking.
They're
Oh, yeah.
really pretty.
And we'll be much more comfortable with that new back. The old backs were
Yes.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. And this is a full
And
back.
some
I
of them,
hadn't
some of the
even
old
noticed
ones had gotten very flimsy where they kind of moved around a little bit. They were terrible.
Yeah, yeah. And every single one is dirty.
The old ones. The old ones
Oh,
were
yeah.
bad.
They're vile.
Yeah. And they've pilled and everything. Like these won't pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new ones are much better.
Oh, what else do you want?
I'm going to jump off. I need to turn my air conditioning on. Clearly, I'm upstairs. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kristen, for the
Okay. You're welcome.
virtual tour. It was awesome.
Oh, anytime.
You might have to do it again next week.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure.
I think we should record one, Dawn.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I'm serious. Actually, that would be great for Anne for the renters.
Yeah.
Yes.
The twins and I are coming in on Tuesday. We can
Okay.
record a video with you.
You want them to record?
We can record a video with you. They can sit on chairs and act comfortable.
And I'll do it on my phone, so it's not all because I have my laptop. I have to turn it to show you things. It'll be much easier on my phone.
Do you all want to be put into a coffee hour? Well, you could just stay here and have coffee hour
At this point, there's 12.
together. It is almost 12 o'clock. Totally.
I'm actually ready to go, but I'm so glad we had this little diversion from coffee hour.
Me too.
It's nice.
It's not that I don't
I'm so glad we had this time together. Everybody?
Bye.
No, that song.
Okay. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Somebody's, was it, like somebody's told?